Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. In today's video, I am going to be discussing SciDev's June quarter results. Now, I have been a holder of this company for about 4 or 5 years. I am bullish on the future of SciDev, and we have seen significant growth over that 4 to 5 year period. In fact, we've seen revenue grow from about $1 million per quarter to $19 million per quarter. That's the sort of growth this company has experienced, and it wouldn't be surprised to see the company experience that sort of growth over the next 4 to 5 years. Now, just because I am bullish on the future of this company doesn't mean they will realize that potential. And we have seen a lot of negative sentiment in regards to SciDev over the past year, and that negative sentiment has driven the share price down from a high of greater than $1 to a low of 17 cents. And really, that negative sentiment has driven some shareholders out. And they believe the market is seeing something that they're not seeing. And even though my faith and belief in this company hasn't exactly wavered, I still have questioned the possibility that there is something wrong going with the company. But my faith, my belief in this company has been restored because of the June quarter Appendix 4C. And I think potentially we are seeing a shift in sentiment from negative to at least neutral and possibly even positive. We'll just have to wait out over the next few weeks to see if the share price keeps on climbing. But leading up to the results being released on, what was it, July the 25th, we saw the share price in SciDev rise 50% in 3 trading days. It went from 17.5 cents to 26.5 cents. So that is telling us there is a possibility. There are some people out there who saw these results and they were buying. Hence the title of today's video, Loose Lips. Now, that's not necessarily, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. It could be just coincidental. Share price rose 50% in the 3 trading days leading up to these release. But in my time as an investor, there is not much coincidences going on when it comes to investing. And when you do see a share price rise like this in 3 trading days leading up to the release of the results, there is possibility of some funny things happening. So for those who don't know what SciDev does, the way I describe this company is they are a water environmental company. So environment and water. I'll probably say water is the most precious commodity on the earth. And we have to look after our water, not only for current generations, but also for future generations. And that is exactly what SciDev does through their own technology. They have 4 key verticals: mining and mineral processing. So what they do in that is solids and liquid separation in the mining and mineral processing, oil and gas, and they recycle, reuse, and minimize oil-filled water waste, infrastructure and construction, and water treatment. In those 4 key verticals, the addressable market is pretty high right now and will only increase over time. And the inspiration for the title of today's video was this loose lips, this 50% increase in share price in the trading days leading up to the release of this Appendix 4C. So on the 20th of July, share price rose 5.8%. On the 25th or the 21st, it rose 16%. And the day before the release of the Appendix 4C, share price rose 23.3% from 21.5 cents to 26.5 cents. So there was something going on here. You don't necessarily see this sort of increase in share price on no news flow. Sometimes you will see this sort of share price rise just before some really positive news released from a company. And that's exactly what we have seen with SciDev. Now, a few facts in regards to SciDev. The company itself was founded in 2001, but it didn't list on the ASX. Well, actually, it never listed on the ASX because there was another company called Intech, which listed on the ASX in 2002. And then in 2013, Intech bought 50% of SciDev with the option of buying the other 50% in 2016. And in fact, they actually bought the other 50% in February 2017, which meant they owned 100% of SciDev. Now, whatever Intech were doing, I'm not sure exactly what they were doing. It could have been a mining company, but as soon as they bought SciDev, 100% of SciDev, they almost immediately changed the name from Intech to SciDev. That would have been either in March or April of 2017. Now, the CEO did resign upon the release of the March quarter results, and at this point in time, we still have an interim CEO, that is Sean Halpin. A couple of the big shareholders in SciDev are Perennial Value. They own 50% of the company, and Australian Super own 8.6%. I think that percentage has been rising in recent times. Now to the market cap, or the valuation of this company. The last time I did a video, which was about a year ago, the valuation or the market cap of SciDev was 150 million. That was at a share price of 95 cents. Currently at a share price of 27 cents. And when you're watching this video, have a look at the share price, because more than likely the share price is going to be quite volatile, simply because we have seen share price rise 50% in 3 days leading up to the release of the Appendix 4C, and we saw the share price rise another 13% on the release of the Appendix 4C. The share price should be quite volatile. We will see some profit taking, particularly from those people, those investors or traders who have bought in less than 20 cents. But at 27 cents, the market cap of SciDev is $51 million. Now, SciDev did do a capital raising, I think it was in November last year, at about 65 cents. At the time, I thought that was a horrible capital raising, simply because the share price had been higher in previous months. And I want a company to do a capital raising when the share price is at an all-time high or near all-time high. But that was actually a good timed capital raising, because the share price kept on falling from there all the way to low about 17 cents. And that would have been the worst time to do a capital raising when the share price is at an all-time low. So they have a lot of cash on hand, and we'll talk about that when we look at the most recent Appendix 4C. And the ticker code for SciDev is SDV. Now, before I have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, let's just go back 1 year in the past to the June quarter for financial year 21. At this point in time, the valuation or market cap of this company was well over $100 million. Share price was probably fluctuating between about 90 cents and $1. So we could just compare to see how this company has progressed over the past year. So 1 year ago, receipts to customers, $14.7 million. And the company was operating cash flow positive by $1.4 million. However, in saying that, they actually did burn through some cash in this particular quarter. So cash on hand fell from $8.1 million to $7 million. And the reason cash on hand actually fell was because they did make an acquisition, which equated to $1.7 million. And they actually also repaid some borrowings to the tune of $640,000. Now on to the June quarter results for financial year 22. And even though the share price has decreased from about $1 all the way down to less than 20 cents, now at about 27 cents, 30 cents, you might expect to see the financial performance of the company to be worse than 1 year ago. But it's the complete opposite. This company is still growing. And this quarter was significantly better than the quarter 1 year ago, the June quarter 1 year ago. So receipts to customers up $4.4 million to $19.1 million. Next thing we have to look at is the spending. Have they increased their spending at a greater or lesser rate than the cash receipts growth? Product manufacturing operating costs up $2 million. Staff costs up $1.1 million. So altogether, the costs have not grown at a greater rate than receipts, which means the company has a higher cash flow in operations in this quarter than the June quarter 1 year ago, and it's up to actually $2.6 million. They did spend $583,000 on capital expenditure. They repaid $676,000 of their debt, and even though they did those two things, they were still able to grow their cash on hand from $12.6 million to $14.1 million. So if you also take the debt into account, $2.6 million of debt, that means the enterprise value at this point in time is around $40 million, or could even be less than $40 million, which is significantly lower than it was 1 year ago, even though this is a much better quarter than the June quarter in financial year 21. So the decrease in valuation and the markup of this company was only driven because of sentiment, not because of the financial performance of the company. Something SciDev always includes in their Appendix 4Cs in the commentary section is just the revenue for the different verticals. So the mining and mineral processing, energy, construction and infrastructure, and water treatment. We can just see how each vertical has been performing. And by far, the best division for this company is energy services, up to $11.7 million in revenue for the fourth quarter. Water treatment, $3.7 million. Mining and mineral processing, $2.7, and construction infrastructure at $0.1. Now let's have a look at the receipts history for SciDev. This goes all the way back to the time when Intech bought the last 50% of SciDev back at the start of 2017. So the first quarter here is that March quarter when the company received $450,000 in receipts. And then for intents and purposes, receipts went sideways, or they grew very slowly over the next 2 years from $450,000 to $770,000 in the June quarter 2019. And then all of a sudden, receipts started to grow, and they've grown at a significant rate over the past 3 years from $770,000 to $19.1 million. Now, receipts don't go in a straight line. There is a bit of lumpiness here, and on occasion, receipts will drop. So a possibility and a possible reason why there was a bit of negative sentiment in regards to SciDev is because receipts actually fell in consecutive quarters back in the September and December quarters in financial year 22 from $14.7 million to $9.8 million. So that is a possible reason why the company was not liking SciDev. But 2 consecutive quarters with a decrease in cash receipts does not make a trend. And we can confirm that because the last 2 quarters, we have seen receipts rise from $9.8 million to $19.1 million. So definitely receipts are still in an uptrend right now. And we also had the record quarter in the June quarter. So everything is moving well for this company right now. Now let's have a look at the charts for SciDev. And this first chart is not the updated chart. Perhaps I wish it was, because the share price, according to this chart, is at 96 cents. But this is the chart that was current last time I did a video on SciDev. And the breakout in SciDev's share price occurred in the middle of 2019, around June or July, when the share price was actually less than 10 cents. And if you remember the cash receipts history, between 2017 and the middle of 2019, cash receipts was going sideways. Same period of time, the share price was going sideways. And when we started to see cash receipts rising, that coincides with the breakout in the share price. So that's not a coincidence. That's when the market started to realize that this company might be growing at a pretty quick rate. And because the cash receipts were growing at a pretty quick rate, the share price was growing at a pretty quick rate. And it kept on climbing from the middle of 2019 all the way to August or July 2021. We saw a little bit of a dip during the COVID-19 financial panic. That was a great time to buy. Share price actually reached a low of 25 cents. So let's have a look at the share price action and the chart for SciDev since August of last year. And for some investors, it would be bad news. For other investors, it's actually good news, particularly those investors who are bullish on the long-term future of SciDev. So how could this particular chart be viewed as being a good thing, a positive for some shareholders? And I'm going to use that word some shareholders, not all shareholders, because it all comes back to your conviction on a company. You can't borrow your conviction. I can't sell my conviction of SciDev to you. You're going to have to develop your own conviction in regards to a company. So there are going to be some shareholders who have high conviction in regards to SciDev, other shareholders who are going to have a low conviction. For those shareholders with a high conviction on SciDev, a decrease in the share price is actually good news because they can buy more shares on this company at lower share price. I would rather buy shares in SciDev at 25 cents than at $1 because at 25 cents, I can buy 4 times as many shares. Now, that's on the assumption that the future of this company has not changed. At this point in time, the future of this company, in my opinion, has not changed. So that's a shareholder with high conviction. But if you get a shareholder with low conviction on a company, what's been happening with the share price over the past 1 year is bad news. They don't want to see the share price dropping because then their conviction is tested. And as the share price keeps on dropping, that testing in their conviction becomes stronger and stronger. And then eventually they can't take it anymore and they will sell out. And hopefully they won't sell out when the share price has reached a low or at the low. The share price did reach a low of about 17 cents, and there was some selling at those levels. So hopefully there was no shareholders who sold out at those levels. Now, we have seen the share price rally quite strongly in the past 4 trading days. Usually, I am a bit nervous when I do see the share price rally like that. I prefer to see the share price consolidate and then move into an uptrend. And the other thing we have seen at the end of closing on the 25th of July, the share price finished at 30 cents, which is the same as the 100-day moving average. And moving averages on occasion do tend to be strong resistance levels, and that is one resistance level for SciDev moving through or moving past in the future. There's going to be more resistance levels that the SciDev share price will have to pull through. And one of the resistance levels, with many, many levels, and one of the reasons there's going to be all these resistance levels is because of the amount of shareholders who have bought in at past year or even 2 years at higher share prices, and because the share price has fallen, they automatically think this company is a dog stock and they have to sell out. And when they see the share price rising, that gives them the opportunity to sell out at higher share prices. And that's the resistance moving forward for SciDev. And that's the reason why I like to see or prefer to see a consolidation period. Because when you do see a consolidation period, that gives an opportunity for all those shareholders who are stale on a company, who think the company is a dog stock, it gives an opportunity for them to sell out because they just become bored with the sideways action of the share price. So that's why we might see some resistance moving forward for SciDev in the next few weeks, next few months. The other reason I prefer to see a consolidation period is because when you see share price rise like this, it brings in traders. And I don't want to see any traders in SciDev right now because you will see an increase in volatility. And traders, short-term traders, love volatility. And when the share price is going sideways or consolidating, there is no volatility. There is no traders. And that is the best scenario for moving forward for a company because eventually we'll see the share price break out and move into an uptrend. So that's why I get nervous when I see the share price rally like we have seen in SciDev over the past 4 trading days. We will see increased interest in traders. We haven't seen a massive increase in volume, which is some good news. So I'm still bullish about the long-term future of SciDev. Wouldn't be surprised to see share price pull back as more traders hear about this increase, 50% increase in share price in SciDev over the past 4 trading days. That's all I have for this June quarter Appendix 4C video for SciDev. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any opinions in regards to SciDev and my bullishness in regards to the long-term future of this company, I'd love to hear it. So leave it in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.